Hello folks, I'm Tom Robinson in Dahlonega, Georgia. This is my Tennessee Central Railway S-gauge layout. It's 15 feet by 16 feet, includes over 300 feet of S-gauge track. It models the Tennessee Central Railway from Eastern Division from Nashville to Harriman, Tennessee. None of the buildings on the layout are actual copies of buildings in that area, but they represent buildings that might have been found. The only buildings that have tried to make actual copies are the stations in Rockwood, Crossville, and Harriman. And they are scratch built and made from pictures in publications showing the Tennessee Central Railway. I started this layout when we moved to Dahlonega in 2001. First year was spent finishing this half basement, and all the work was done by my wife and I. All the layout I built, everything on the layout, did the skirt, the University of Tennessee skirt under the layout. The actual layout was started in 2002. It was the same size with basically the same track plan as you see now. However, it was strictly an American Flyer layout. Everything on the layout was American Flyer, engines, rolling stock, was produced from 1946 to 1953, which is known as the link coupler era. Every accessory, every piece of rolling stock, and all but one engine that were in the catalogs of those years were on the layout. And most of those can be seen around the walls of the train room now. None of the rolling stock or engines or anything from that of the old American Flyer line are on the layout now. All of the engines on the layout now are either Lionel American Flyer, American Models engines, TH engines, which are copies of earlier S-Helper service engines. The track is a code 172 nickel silver rail, solid rail flex track. Over 300 feet of track on the 4 main lines. 3 of the main lines are on the lower level, 1 is on the upper level. There's a transition track from the lower to the upper level, 4 reverse loops on the layout, 12 stub sidings, 2 passing sidings on the layout. All trains can be operated from either the Lionel cabs, this is a cab 2, or a cab 1, or from the MTH cab. All of the command control trains can be operated from an iPad or an iPhone, either through the MTH Wi-Fi system or the Lionel Wi-Fi system. The control panel contains all of the Lionel LCS control items. Many of them are on bus boards under the layout. The track power controllers of the Lionel system are under here. We have 5 that control track 1, 2, 3, and 4, roundhouse track area, track 5. Basic power of the tracks is provided by 2 MRC pure power dual transformers. Below them are 2 more dual powers, which are controlling all of the variable voltage lights in the buildings around the layout. Most of the turnouts are American S-gauge turnouts from California, from Classic Trains in California. And that's not Classic Toy Trains magazine, that's Classic Trains of California. It's kind of hard to find some of the equipment you get used to using since Radio Shack is not available anymore. Actually, the layout is of Alberta construction. Some of the layout was actually constructed in Montgomery before we moved up here and it's still basically an U-shaped layout, strictly American flag.
Tennessee Central. All aboard.
Reversing by breaking the current. This is all AC.
Now rating on track 2 from Harriman, Tennessee Central. Watch your step, please. Now departing on track 1 for Hopkinsville, Tennessee Central. All aboard.
Observation cards here have barcode readers on them.
Rising on track 1 from Hopkinsville, Tennessee Central. Watch your step, please.
we very much appreciate you attending this virtual tour. Many of you have already been here on the previous tours and have seen the layout in person, and we hope many of you can do this again when things clear up. We appreciate you seeing an S-gauge layout. There are quite a few people in our area that operate S-gauge, and it's been a really good gauge for me from the time when I first received the S-gauge train back in 1948. Again, we appreciate your interest.